costume jewelry and stuff like that. And I got tired of it looking the same. Like, this gonna look the same every single time. So I would take it apart. And a few friends of mine, Clear Crystal Bay, Elaine Foster, they make jewelry. Like, they are jewelry designers. And they taught me basic how to put a hook on jewelry designing. And I just took it. I remember staying with Tracy and having the challenge of her not having holes, which she does now. Why would she do that? Because it really was a challenge trying to make earrings that would stay on her ears and be light enough for her to wear on her ears. So that was a challenge. I appreciate that. But me and her lived together, and me trying to make jewelry for her. That's why a lot of the jewelry that you see actual people modeling in mine is Tracy doing it, because we live together. So that was really the making of jewelry. So we're gonna take another quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BExposedRadio.com.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange, the Artist Exchange,
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live,
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
the Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. This is Nathan, the host.
Did you have to think about it? Were you not sure?
My mind is fried. I thought I could sleep with my window just open, and I'm never going to do that again because it was cool last night. I actually walked home from here, and it was very cool when I left.
It was hot early in the morning now.
Yeah, like, you know how that pool of sweat is in your neck? And everything was wet. Every joint felt wet. So I'm not like a self-conscious person, but I never go outside with just a tank top because I was taught to believe that this is an undershirt and not.
That's why I was like, a tank top, really?
But if you notice, I have two of them on.
I feel you there.
That's the importance of raising your children, because they take heed to the things that you say to them.
Yes, they do.
And they believe.
I had got drunk one night. This is the night that I put my head through the window and everything. So.
Why would you do that?
Join the club that gives you stuff. Hey, thanks! Radio Loyalty. Here's how it works. Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right? Radio Loyalty. Click that banner to join now.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Good morning and welcome to Be Exposed Radio. This is the Denasha Harrison Show, and I am Denasha Harrison, your host. Thank you for joining me. I'm very, very thankful to be here with you again. Thank you for the opportunity, Nate, for being the everything here at the show. Make sure y'all tune in to the Artist Exchange. I'd like to talk a little bit about everything. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about you. How you feeling today? What are you happy about? Get happy about something because that's very important. Sometimes I understand how people relate listening to being able to see. So I'm going to take the hat off for a little bit. I think I'm going to do that. And that way you can see me a little bit more if it's in the way. Get happy about something. If you have a situation that you are a part of that's not the best situation, make it the best situation that you can until your situation can change. But find something to be happy about. Find something that's your base, something that you can ground yourself in and motivate yourself and motivate others about, whether it's your church or whatever you believe, whether it's that person that you looked up to or somebody that you aspire to be like or somebody that you aspire to do business with. I believe that it's very important for you to get happy about what's going on with you, because only you can start the change of your situation, whatever that situation may be. Nobody has a hell or heaven to put you in. Nobody has the right to judge you about what you've done or about the situation that you are in, but you should be judging yourself about where you are and where you're trying to go when it comes to your situation. You are somebody's motivation. Somebody is looking up to you. Somebody is trying to be next to you or trying to be just like you. So give them the best example that you can when you do the thing that you do, and hopefully you're doing it as well as you can. Good morning, y'all. I am so happy that we're going to have our guest on the show. We have Miss Kylie from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy, and there's a recruiter coming here as well. And they're going to talk a little bit about the program that they're involved with. It's a program to help young women and young men make the right decisions. Sometimes school is not the most comfortable fit because of some situations or circumstances that family members may be going through out on the streets or may be going through in their households. The Challenge Academy, whether it's Free State Challenge in Maryland or the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy coming out of DC, there's also a Challenge Academy in North Carolina, Chicago, a couple other areas. I'll let them speak on that. But it's an organization that gives young men and women the opportunity to affect change in a positive way in their lives. Put them on a path to getting that GED, although it's not a GED program, but it gives them the opportunity to right the wrongs that they've made, okay, to let them know that we have not given up on them. So I'm going to let them talk about that organization. We should be joined by them pretty soon. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what's going on out there, not only in Baltimore, but what's going on out there in the world. Chicago always comes to mind because that's where I was born and raised. When we look at the legislation, once again, protesting in Chicago is great. I challenge you to go to Springfield. I challenge you to get to know who your legislators are. I challenge you to get involved. I challenge you to stay involved. I was on a jog a couple of days ago, and as I'm jogging up the street, this lady, she stopped in the middle of the road because there was a raccoon that was killed and laid in the middle of the street. So she jumped out with a plastic bag to pick that raccoon up and throw it on the side. So as I'm jogging, I noticed that she got out. And when she came out, she had a plastic bag in her hands. And she went to go pick the raccoon up by the tail, but then she stopped. That the raccoon was more mangled than it looked when she got out to get a little bit closer to it. she looked and she noticed that there was a smell coming from that raccoon that was just something that was too much for her to handle, something that was too much for her to bear. So what's my point? My point is, when you start something, it might not be the prettiest thing. It might not be the sweetest smelling thing. But if you're going to commit, go ahead and commit all the way 100%, because things look different from the outside. Things look different from a distance. But once you get up on the situation or circumstance that you're trying to change or be a part of, something that you're going through, when you get right down into it, when you get really, really close to it, when all your senses are available for you to engage with that situation, in her case, the raccoon, sometimes you think twice. Sometimes you think, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have stopped in the middle of traffic to pick up this raccoon that's stuck on the street and throw it on the side. So the intentions were good initially, but she did not want to commit and take that stinky, smelly, big raccoon and throw it on the side. I challenge you that when you get involved, stay involved. When you get involved and it doesn't look or it doesn't smell or it doesn't appear to be the best situation, go through that anyway. Okay, if your intention is initially what you want it to be or what you think it should be, then follow through all the way to the end. So I thought that was a funny story that I'd like to share with you. If you get the opportunity to call in, please give us a call at 410-702-5657. We are on BeExposedRadio.com. This is the Danasha Harrison Show, and we will come back and we will talk a little bit more about issues that are going on around us, whether it's local here in Baltimore or out there in Chicago, down there in Florida, Los Angeles, wherever that may be. We're going to go ahead and get involved. So we're going to go ahead and take a really quick break, and we will be back right after these messages right here on Be Exposed Radio. And I got a little bit more that I'd like to talk with you about what's coming up here on the radio show. So, and what's coming up for a Be Exposed radio station. For example, the open house is September 17th from 12 to 5. That is a Saturday. So come down, support the show, join us if you will. And we will be right back right after these messages here on Be Exposed Radio.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
So we're going to get a little bit into the album with Miss Amira and learn the basis of it, the Banji soul of it all.
Yes.
So let us know, first of all, what is Banji soul?
Banji soul is basically just real. It's real soul. It's real. It's not cut down. It's not watered down. It's, you know, how as hot as it came off of my mind and my heart. That's what it is. And a lot of the times I get a little tangy, you know, tangy, banji, ratchet, whatever, however you like to put it, classify it. But I like to say banji, you know, because I'm classy.
Banji is a little classy.
It's a little classier. That's got your pinky up.
Right.
You got your pinky up with that.
Okay, we got to keep the bees, the bougie, the banji.
Yeah.
Right. So she's created her own lane, Banji soul. So let us know how that is covered in the album that released on the 9th of this month, right?
Yes. Well, I did it to a number of industry tracks, including like the Beatles Come Together, and I did a Lindsay Lohan joint. You remember the Confessions of a Broken Heart?
Okay.
And a lot of stuff I aimed to like change the theme that was originated, or just to. It was my therapy.
Okay.
It was my therapy.
So that's why this is a mixtape.
Yes.
Okay, because you did a lot of remakes. Okay, I got you. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
What's happening, world? I am your boy, the fellow ain't shit, or however you want to flip it. And this is Weird Radio. Today, I am joined by the beautiful Big Mama Ama.
Oh, I thank you. Hello, everybody.
In lieu of her husband not being here because he's a hardworking individual.
Yes, he is. I'm not mad. We out there making some money so we can pay these bills.
Oh, yeah, straight up.
That's what life is about. So, unfortunately, your regular host couldn't make it.
Yeah, but we got it. And what makes today even more special is that I have no clue what we're going to talk about. So we're just going
we came up with a few things. What did we say? We were going to talk a little bit about the games.
Preseason football.
Yes, I love football. I really do. I haven't watched it as much since getting married to Kenyon. For whatever reason, we just don't spend a whole lot of time. But I think it's mostly because his team is is the Falcons. Mm-hmm. So they never play Falcons up here. So he's not interested in watching anybody else's team play, really. Occasionally, I'll make him watch the Jags because that's my team.
Go Ravens.
Right.
But
Ravens. I did wear my purple today because they won last night.
Yeah, we did. It was like 19-22, I believe, or 21, something like that.
So y'all rookies are looking real good.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the preseason games is it's amateur hour.
Yeah, it was. I think the one receiver for the Cowboys' son dislocated his elbow.
Yes,
that was wicked.
That is one of the things that scares me the most about the whole preseason. Like you've got these guys out here. It's their first time playing against other real professionals because there's a difference between playing on the college level and playing as a professional, because when you're playing on the college level, the majority of the people you're playing against are also amateurish and young and really are just learning to play the game. But now you've graduated from actually, let me get some topics from that. From college, and now you're entering a league where there are people who have been there 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15 years. And that's a lot of catching up, and that's a lot of experience and know-how that you are only just beginning to stand at the buffet line to scoop onto your plate, right? So it's always interesting to me to see the risks that people take, because that's the thing about professional sports is one injury and that's it. That could be it for the rest of your life. You will never play again.
Yeah.
And I guess because as an actor, there is very little you can do that will incapacitate you. I can always act. If I am paraplegic, I just got to find a part that they're willing to cast a paraplegic for. Because one of the things about acting, when you are analyzing a script, there are a few writers who will require a specific kind of person, but most characters, as long as the actor makes the character likable, they don't have a requirement on their physical look. There are a few things here and there, but like James Bond is a fictional character. No one says he has to be a white guy, except that it's always just been a white guy.
Yeah.
So the one thing it does say is that he's English because he works for MI6.
Yep.
So you have to pick an Englishman. Does not necessarily have to be a white guy.
Is this about the whole Idris Elba thing?
Well, I mean, that's just the first thing that popped up into my mind because that is one of the prime examples. The other one I have is the Harry Potter when they cast the black girl to play Hermione in she wrote a play, or someone wrote a play about the world of Harry Potter, and then they cast this young black girl to play Hermione. Well, the only description J.K. Rowling came out, she goes, well, the only description I ever gave was that she had very curly hair.
Yeah.
That could have been a little black.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Once again, this is the Denasha Harrison Show, and you're listening to Denasha Harrison on Be Exposed Radio. A couple of things I'd like to talk about real quick. September 17th, once again, is the open house for the radio show from 12 to 5. That's a Saturday. And also, we're doing a live broadcasting for the African American Authors Expo on the 15th of October. And that is located at Morgan State University. Thank you. So when we started, we talked about being happy, among other things. So when I was coming to the show today, I bumped into a hustler by the name of Shay. Shay was on the street and she was honest. She said, you know what? I'm trying to get a little bit of money to buy some things to make me feel happy and keep this smile on my face. I said, listen, I appreciate you being honest. We'll talk about it when I'm on my way back from the show. But my point is this. She was real. She came to me real. She wasn't trying to sell me on trying to get some bus fare or some train fare to go somewhere or trying to get from A to B. She was straight up. And for that, I'm grateful. For that, I'm thankful. More of us need to be straight up. More of us need to tell folks what's really on our mind. Be honest. Find something to be happy about. Be honest about what your situation is and do something to make your situation better.
Join the club that gives you stuff. Hey, thanks. Radio Loyal.
So, good information for you all this morning. I'd like to talk to you all about sponsorship opportunities. If you want to call into the show, please feel free to do so at 410-702-5657 or go to BeExposedRadio.com if you do have the time and go ahead and click on the Denasha Harrison Show. If you missed the show, you can always go to YouTube. If you don't have time to listen to the whole show, go to YouTube, click on the Denasha Harrison Show. Sponsorship opportunities. We have a whole lot of them. If you want to just make a donation, please feel free to do so. It's up to you, but please make a difference. If you're listening, if you have something on your mind, you want to know how to get started on helping to make a difference in your community, go ahead and give us a call. Shout out goes to the Wade family and all other families that are victims of gun violence, whether it's Chicago, whether it's somewhere in South Dakota, it doesn't matter. Whether you're black or you're white or any other color in between, it does not matter when you have to go through the pain of losing somebody over some senseless stuff. I'll call it what it is, over things that are senseless. Now, we want to be specific about what's going on in our communities. We want to take a look at the lives that are being most affected when it comes to gun violence, and that's Black lives. So Black lives do matter. Of course, other lives matter, but Black lives do matter. And if you see somebody acting up in the middle of a Black Lives Matters protest, that has nothing to do with the movement. Some people are more emotional than others. Some people have their own agenda compared to others. So they will attach themselves onto a movement. And unfortunately, they give some of these movements a bad name. So a little bit about Black Lives Matter as far as what it means to me. What it means to me when somebody says Black Lives Matter, it doesn't exclude any other life that's walking this planet. What it says to me is that we are bringing attention to all the things that are going on in America and places outside of this country when it comes to Black lives, whether it's oppression, whether it's exploitation, whether it's us being locked out of the corporate job market as young Black men, young Black women. That's what it means. We have to bring attention to what's going on in our streets. If you notice, when you see a Black Lives Matters movement, you're not just seeing Black folk out there. You're seeing a whole bunch of people from a whole bunch of backgrounds, whether it's financial, racial. Everybody's understanding that something has to be done different for what has been done before. So that's my take, and that's my opinion about Black Lives Mattering. Once again, we talk about legislation. It's very important that you get involved and find out who your legislators are so that you can petition by the vote, petition to let them know we want to see something that's a reflection of what's to help us in our neighborhoods. We want to see something different from what we've seen before. We want to see where the change is going to affect us in a positive way. We want to bring light to these situations. So we want to make sure that we do that, and we'll be back right after this.
Here's how it works. Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right? Radio Loyalty. Click that banner to join now.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
What's going on, world? How is everybody? That was a promo from the open house last month. Mind you, Mr. The Boss never showed up.
Yeah, what happened to that, man?
So I mean, as it stands, I'm still the guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm still the Don.
Oh yeah.
Don Falcone is my, you know what I'm saying? Figaro to my friends. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? This is the co-host with the most, TC Falcone. What's going on, everybody? You can find me on IG and Twitter at TC on the air. We spell everything out, so if you know how to spell, you'll be okay in finding me. We got the guest that never left.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
What's happening, bitch? No, I'm kidding.
It's Stelzine. Stelz the Don. Stelz a nigger. Stelz Apocalypse. Stelladonis. It's just a lot. You could do a lot with your name. Stellular.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Steltacular.
Yeah. My homegirl Chanel always call me Steez. That shit is funny. I don't have no clue why, but Steez.
Here's your constellation prize. Right?
This guy.
We're waiting on Kenyon. He's kind of like me. I was actually coming from Towson. I was stuck in traffic. I text you at 4:56, something like that. Hey, coming from Towson, I'll meet you on 25th, right? From 4:56 to me texting him at 5:28, I had not moved from the York Road Circle. Like when I text you, I was like, just go on without me.
Like when you said you were stuck in traffic, I was like,
it was in my mind. It was very dramatic. It was very movie reel-esque. It's like, go on without me, man. Because like when I text you that, I had just passed Roz's shop.
Yeah.
I had literally just passed it.
It's cool because on my way up from the bar is when I got that text and there was a bus coming down the street. I win.
Yes. So today's show, for all of those listening, once again, this is Weird Radio on BeExposedRadio.com. You can call us at 410-702-5657, or you can text your comments, questions, conundrums, and confuffles to 443-642-9403.
Or people us on YouTube.
Yeah. If you're on YouTube,
live.
it's Be Exposed Radio. Subscribe.
Absolutely.
You can watch all the shows, not just ours. You can watch the Artist Exchange, who comes on after us.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch Charm City because they're live now.
Man.
Even though
This is Nick, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook on our page as well as our group, The Artist.
Hello and welcome back to the show. We're talking a little bit about legislation, talking about those who are victims of gun violence, talking about getting involved, talking about being the change that you want to see. There's a quote that says, it's not the assassin's bullet that we should concern ourselves about, but it's the one that manufactures and purchases the bullet. So saying that to say that there is enough blame to go around. Absolutely. If you're out there pulling the trigger, taking lives or attempting to take lives, you're wrong. And you need to just turn around and make that change. We're tired. We're tired of burying our young. We're tired of burying family members that have nothing to do with what you're trying to do out there in the streets. But we also have to bring attention to those who manufacture the bullets and the guns. And we have to bring attention to those who are allowing it to come into the communities at wholesale prices. It's easier to get a gun than it is to get good food or, good public resources in the city of Chicago and other cities. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is it so easy to have tools at your access to take your brother or sister's lives than it is for you to go to a community center so that you all can get together and get to know each other? There are so many ways to approach the situations that are plaguing us as a community. There are so many ways that we can approach this, but we have to start somewhere. And I say, start with your legislation. I say, start with registering to vote. Your MVA can register you to vote. When you go to get your driver's license and registration taken care of, guess what? You can go and you can inquire about filling out an application so that you can vote. And if you're not voting, then you're indirectly voting for a situation that's not the best for you. So please, please, please get involved. Get involved. It's very important that we do. I'd like to send a thank you to Jennifer Bowens. Jennifer Bowens is a wonderful poet, and hopefully soon I can get her music and her poetry into your hands. There's a book out there called If Only I Could Find the Words. It's a book that she wrote. Once again, she's a wonderful poet. If you don't know her by Jennifer Bowens, they also call her Amadou. And she was really huge on the LA scene a few years back. Her and Jihad, Michael Thatcher, a couple other people out there, Janone, they would go to the world stage out there in what they used to call the jungle, or what they call the jungle. It's Baldwin Hills out in Los Angeles. A wonderful book. If you want to know more about that book, give us a call at 410-702-5657. And there's also a CD out there by Bobby Bryant and the Jazz Poetry Collective featuring Jennifer Bowens. Wonderful jazz poetry, music. If you want to know more about that, then give us a call here at 410-702-5657. To tune in, go to BeExposedRadio.com. If you're listening, tell someone else about the show. Tell someone else about what we got going on here. We're talking truth. That's what we're speaking. That's what we want to see come through the door. If you want to promote your business, whatever it is, whether you sing or whether you bake cakes. It doesn't matter. Come on in. We'll talk about it. We'll promote it. Last show, we talked about real estate and wine, which was an interesting combination. It was a wonderful show, a lot of information. We had a couple of lucky callers. So I really appreciate the educated wino, as they call him, and the other brother that was here doing the real estate. So thank you very much. You're always welcome to come on to the show. And once again, out there, you're always welcome to call in. Come on in. We're at 110 East Lexington Avenue, right here in downtown Baltimore. So once again, we have a wonderful show. If you didn't hear us at the beginning of the show, we're going to be talking, and that's actually going to happen around 11 o'clock. We're going to be talking to some people from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy, and they're coming out of Washington, D.C. They'll be up to talk about their program and the things that they're doing in the community, the opportunities that they're doing for young men and women. I believe the program is for individuals between the age of 16 and 18. If you're here in Maryland, then that's the Free State Challenge, and they'll talk a little bit about that as well. And if you're listening outside of the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia area, they can tell you what's available in your area or programs like theirs that can help our youth get involved and get engaged. Everybody does not have the funds to send their children to camp. Everybody does not have the funds to take that extra vacation or take that trip or have that vacation time. So it's very important that we concentrate on what's available for us in our communities, what's available for us in the cities. I was talking to a brother early this morning. He's from Washington, D.C., and he can count how many times on one hand he's actually gone downtown to the mall area. So it's very important that we are engaged, that we get outside of our areas of where we grew up at to explore a little bit, broaden our horizons a little bit, find out what's going on with different processes besides the political process, besides what's going on, on your corner or in your neighborhood. Expand your horizons a little bit. I'm thankful for the internet. That was something that I wish I had when I was growing up. And the opportunity to learn beyond what you're being taught in your neighborhoods is available on the internet. Of course, you can't believe everything that you read and hear on the net, but there's a lot of good information out there. Be Exposed Radio is a wonderful example of how people can effect change in a positive way, whether it's going on to the Artist Exchange or other shows that are available on Be Exposed Radio. They're out there in the community. When they do the African American Authors Expo, they're going to be out there pushing books of substance, things to keep you engaged, things to captivate the mind for a little while. And there's a lot of people who are looking forward to meeting those around the community so that we can support one another, so that we can do an information sharing situation with one another. So get engaged. John 19:17 says, God knows best what cross we need to bear, and we never know how heavy someone else's cross may be. We envy someone who is rich with a cross of gold adorned with jewels, but we do not know how heavy it is. We look at someone whose life seems, keyword seems, so easy, and who carries a cross covered with flowers. Yet, if we could actually test all the crosses we think are lighter than ours, we would never find one better suited for us than our own. I think that's very important to understand that when you look at somebody else's situation, you don't know what they went through to get to where they are. So why put yourself in a position to judge that person because of how you think they got what you think they got? Everything's not always what it seems. Everything is not always what it looks like. So before you start envying somebody else's situation based on what it looks like they have, or based on what it looks like they did to obtain what you think they have, check yourself first. Take a look at, number one, what makes you happy? Number two, how honest How honest are you really being with yourself? How honest are you really being with your situation? Where do you stand? What plan do you have to get out of the situation that you find yourself in time and time again, every day, every night? How many times are you going to pick up the phone and call someone who's sympathetic to you not making a move, who's sympathetic to you stand exactly where you are, when they've outlined the plan for you, when they've told you what the keys are to the solutions that you're looking for? How many times have you sat back and rested in your situation simply to pick up the phone and call somebody all over again and talk about a situation that's not moving you forward, not moving the people around you forward? Remember, there's people that's looking at you as an example. There's people that would love to partner with you to make a difference moving forward. But how many times have we sat back and said, you know what? I'm comfortable where I am. The fact that I vented for a little bit to someone who's going to listen to my complaining. How many times have you done that to yourself? And how many times have you affected others' blessings by continuing to complain over and over again about how bad you have it? Because believe me, although you may have it bad, somebody is always in a worse situation than you. So I challenge you this morning. I challenge you to take a look beyond what it seems for somebody else. I challenge you to take a look beyond that cross that's adorned with golden flowers. If that's something that you really desire, then put in the work to get that gold cross that's adorned with flowers. It may not be easy. It may not be clear at first, but it's definitely worth it, because it's going to move you forward from where you currently exist today. Be Exposed Radio, the Nasha Harrison Radio Show. Good morning, caller. Who is this?
Good morning. This is Lee Shepard calling.
Good morning, Miss Shepard. How are you this morning? Mrs. Shepard, how are you this morning?
I'm doing just fine. Took a minute to get through.
Okay. Well, good morning. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, well, I'm just listening to what you're talking about, and I said, sounding really, really good. That is a very good point of what you were saying about sometimes being envious or thinking that someone else has it so much better, when in actuality, they might think the same thing about you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with that. And, you know, someone told me a long time ago, and I'm sure a lot of listeners out there have heard it before. A lot of viewers out there have heard it before. We do not have a hell or heaven to put anybody in. So, of course, you know, everybody's heard, you know, judge not that ye may not be judged. In other words, before you start judging somebody concerning their situation, you know, take a look at where you are. Be very, very careful what you have an opinion about. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to speak your mind. But when you speak your mind, where is that process? Where's that thought coming from? Right?
That's right.
Okay,
That's
so where
right.
are you calling from?
Oh, well, you know, I'm calling from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Well, I know you're calling from Kalamazoo, Michigan. The other listeners might not know that that's where you're calling from.
True. They won't know that.
Or you might, you know, be on your way somewhere else.
I sure wish I was traveling right now. I would love to be on just a nice train ride. Now, train ride.
Okay, a train ride?
Yeah.
If you could go anywhere when you have the time to do so, where would you take a trip to and why?
Well, right now, I probably wouldn't go a long distance. I would love to go over into Canada. We're not that far, but it's a nice train ride to get there. And there is a huge mall right there in Edmonton. And so everybody always talks about how beautiful it is. It even has indoor rides there.
Okay, so I think it's the Mall of America is what they call it. That's the name of it, the Mall of America.
No, that one's in Minnesota.
Okay, that's in Minnesota.
Right. I don't know what this one is called, but I've always heard about it, and so I just would like to just go somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but getting back to what you were talking about, so I really did enjoy what you were saying To make a perfect example, I do know a lady that she turned up to have just this, I mean, beautiful Mercedes, just a beautiful, beautiful car. But nobody knew that she had unfortunately gotten insurance money from her son being killed. So she did something for herself, just to be doing something for yourself, because there's nothing that can take away that type of hurt or pain. But sometimes you just do something out, you know, just like, hey, I'm gonna do something for me to just try to give myself some sense of life again. And so, you know, people see you riding around, it's like, oh, but you don't really know what people went through. Sometimes people have a brand new home, but that's because the old one they had burnt down. You know, so you have really, really, you know, talked about some good stuff this morning.
Well, I really do appreciate the call, and you're always welcome to call in. So thank you so much.
Well, the other thing I was going to just say is Vernal was wanting to talk to this morning, but he wanted me to say a little something first. So here he goes.
So before let's do this though. If you get this, if you get disconnected, make sure you call back, because what we're going to do, we want to make sure that we give Brother Shepherd an opportunity to talk as long as he wants, to say whatever he wants. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. So hold on. If you get disconnected, you know how it goes. Once I start talking, go ahead and call back in. So we're going to take a quick break here on Be Exposed Radio. You're listening to the Denasha Harrison Show. Give us a call, 410-702-5657. We'll be right back right after these messages.
It is what it is, radio, Mika Nicole, and Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles, the
BeExposedRadio.com.
Mr. Miles, the gentleman.
It is what it is, radio airs Friday nights, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m.
What's up? What's up? I had to be a gentleman and get the lovely Mika Nicole.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
Welcome back to Be Exposed Radio's open house on August the 20th. It is now, I have no idea what time it is. 3:01, right here on BeExposedRadio.com. And they asked me to come in and give a little dramatic read from the book.
A traumatic read?
A traumatic read.
It was traumatic.
A traumatic.
Rich Uncle Stello, everything you want to call me, man. And this is Weird Radio on BeExposedRadio.com. Kenyon's running a little late, so I'm trying to hold it down right now. But his lovely wife is in the building with your boy.
Hello.
Howdy do, darling.
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm groovy.
Yes, groovy.
And you guys probably guessed today's topic is Stello doesn't fucking know, because he never knows. It's a beautiful thing.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this.
Welcome back to the Be Exposed radio show. This is Denasha Harrison. Mr. Shepard, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm blessed. How you coming along, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Good to hear your voice this morning. What's going on with you?
Hey, likewise. I'm just really getting up, so I said, well, let me check my phone and see if anybody called me, and sure enough, you had. So I said, let me get the ball rolling.
You know, absolutely. I'm going to call and say good morning to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm blessed. I'm here.
All right.
I'm here, and I'm thankful for this opportunity. Always thankful for this opportunity to reach out and say hello and to see what's on everybody's mind. So before we find out what's on your mind this morning, I got a question for you.
Okay, what is it?
Right there in downtown where you are, they extended Arcadia Creek through the downtown area, correct?
Oh, yes, sir.
And then they got nice little townhouses and things going on. What do you think about that development in downtown where you are?
I think it's a nice, the idea was nice. So it appears to be that it's going to work out. It's going to be all right.
Okay. There's a reason that I asked that.
Okay.
The reason that I asked that was because the last time I was there before the development of the downtown Kalamazoo area, that's the area that we're talking about. Before that, you know, downtown had a good feel to it. It was a nice place to walk around and you know, just kind of see what was going on. And then when I came back, I saw the development in the downtown area, and I thought that it was a beautiful addition to what can be a charming city, a wonderful city, a beautiful addition. The next thing I thought about that was how many of us, as far as people of color, how many of us are involved with that process, involved with the development of that area? Because when I was there, it was an inclusive town. It didn't matter too much what color you were. It didn't matter where you came from. But what mattered was that if you came with good intentions, you know, you followed the rules, that you can come up somewhat in the Kalamazoo area. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I you know, it's different, but everybody seemed to be coming together slowly but surely. But you know, I don't hang out downtown a lot. I used to.
Bronson Park, playing those concerts.
Yep, that's exactly right. I used to do that too. So you know, they have a lot of things going on in Kalamazoo, but because of my little minor affliction in my body, I don't hang out downtown like I used to. You know, but it's a lot of great things that's going on in the Kalamazoo area downtown. But it's a beautiful place, man. I mean, you know, you get a chance, you come and check it out. And you'll see, it's beautiful, man.
Absolutely. What else is going on with you this morning?
Well, I just, you know, trying to get my day started. I don't have a whole lot planned, but I'm just taking it one day at a time, I guess, my brother.
Okay. has anything changed with Flint's situation as far as you know?
As far as I know, no, I can't say that it has. As far as I know.
Okay.
Maybe it has, but like I said, as far as I know, I don't know, man.
Okay. Well, Giovanni Cooper, I know the last time he called in on the show, he had a lot of information about Flint, what was going on with the water situation. That's what we're talking about for those who don't know. We're talking about the water situation in Flint. There's so much going on with the primary election coming up that a lot of focus is taken off of the issues. And I understand that you can't fit everything into the news, but then again, we do have something called cable news, which is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news cycle. So I would like to think that more should be done when it comes to keeping the focus on what's going on with people in the community. People from all around live in Flint, predominantly, African Americans, but there's people from all type of backgrounds that live in Flint that have been affected. And what he talked about before was people who have moved from Flint have moved to Battle Creek, Grand Rapids, even Detroit, and of course, Kalamazoo. People have relocated to these different areas. And Kalamazoo, being the place that I remember it to be, is a wonderful option for people. But you would think that people should have a primary option of being able to stay in their homes and drink water that is not poisoning them or their children. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I do. I don't understand why the things happen in Flint like they did, but I think it's awful. Everybody playing the blame game, but it don't look like they're coming up with a great solution. I think it's horrible, man. It is. It is very horrible. That
Absolutely.
Shouldn't have to move because of somebody, doing something with the water. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that, but it's a horrible situation.
Well, I'll tell you,
what can we do to fix it?
Right. So you can't put a Band-Aid on something that needs major surgery, so to speak. Right. So if you get the opportunity somewhere throughout your day, because we're going to be on the show again on Thursday, but if you get the opportunity somewhere along the way between now and Thursday, do me a solid, find out as much as you can about what's going on with Flint from the last time we talked about it with Mr. Cooper on the show, and also from the time that we found out what was going on. So, without getting into too many details, they switched water sources. The water source that they switched was not good for the city of Flint, and it's not good for anybody that's living in the surrounding areas. And of course, it's not good for Michigan, period, or anybody else around Michigan. And I believe that we need to keep attention on matters of Arcadia Creek, the extension of it, running through the city of Kalamazoo, the downtown area, because it is a beautiful place. The development that's going on with one of the neighboring cities like Kalamazoo, and also talk about what still matters. And Flint lives matter, no matter what color they are. They matter because they've all been affected, and indirectly it affects the people in Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, surrounding areas of Michigan, because now you have people who are looking for places to stay, looking for places to work, looking for better roads to travel, since they got to travel back and forth and find solutions to the issue that they did not cause. You know what I mean?
Right, I do. I understand that.
So, yeah, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your call.
All right, man.
Okay.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, always. This is your radio show. It's your platform.
Right,
when I do talk to you more, of course, I'm letting everybody know that the music that they hear played on this show is from Vernon Shepherd. So what we hear as the intro is a song called Magic. And before I let you go, quickly, can you tell us how you came up with that song, Magic.
How did you broke up a little bit.
How you came up with the song Magic.
Oh, wow. I was just in the studio, man, and I began to just mess around, and I found out that my fingers can do some really good things. So I said, man, that appears to be like magic. So I started putting some bass to the track and some drums. And next thing you know, I formed it and birthed it right then in my studio, and I titled it Magic because it was a magical thing to me. So
okay,
that's how I came up with the groove Magic.
Well, I really appreciate that. Before I let you go, very, very quickly, go ahead and shout out your company.
The name of my record label is VSJ Records.
Okay. VSJ Records. We keep it live here on the Denasha Harrison Show. We want you to call in, or go ahead and send us a text. That's okay. You can email us at info@beexposedradio.com. Give us a call, 410-702-5657. To the Shepherd family, thank you for calling in. Always thank you for your support. And I'd also like to shout out our sponsors, of course, Holy Trinity Gospel Ministries, Ophelia Robinson, where Kelvin Harrison also is the pastor. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for your sponsorship, and thank you for your sponsorship in the future as well. So anybody else want to know what you need to do or what you can do to make donations or sponsor the show, go ahead and hit us up, 410-702-5657. We are on the Denasha Harrison Show. We will be back right after these messages.
And first, can you see this? And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that. Cool! That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities. I didn't know it could do that! Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud.
Hello, folks. Good morning, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Be Exposed Radio. I'd like to send a shout out to Carla out in Atlanta. She is the owner of Transform Bodies LLC, and to her husband, who's with Coogan Properties LLC. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening to the show. Looking forward to you all calling in to the show. So when you do call in, Ms. Felton, Corporal Felton, United States Marine Corps, we can talk about your business. I think that you are doing a wonderful work because you're not only transforming bodies, but you're also tackling some of the issues that people go through when they're trying to seek, a better way of life when it comes to exercise, when it comes to diet, just physical fitness as a whole. So I do appreciate the hard work that you're putting in down there in Atlanta and the Atlanta or the Georgia area, the surrounding areas of Atlanta, Georgia. Warner Roberts is listening to the show as well. So thank you very much for your support. Looking forward to you all calling in. Kevin Glover, congratulations on your certifications for your job when it comes to you being the logistician that you are. I know that when you were in the same area as I was during the time, you did great work. So I'm proud to know you and be a part of the hard work that you did when we did work together. So big ups to you. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing down there in Warner Robins as well. Once again, we're on the Denasha Harrison Show. Thank you for listening. We're talking about some issues. We just got off the phone with the Shepherd family out there in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you for the wonderful music from VSJ record label. So we're going to continue to support you as you support us. And I really do appreciate the time that you took this morning to call in, even though you were just rolling out of the bed this morning. Thank you for the support. So we're going to keep it moving here on Be Exposed Radio. Pretty soon, once again, I've said it before, if you didn't hear earlier and you're just tuning in, we're going to talk to Miss Kylie and her company of people that she's coming here with for the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. Once again, it's a wonderful program to give alternatives to children, I believe, between the ages of 16 and 18. We'll clarify that when they come in studio, but to give them the opportunity to make a positive change in their life moving forward. There's grant opportunities that are available through the program for them beyond high school. I personally know of some students that the cadets, that's what they call them. The cadets had opportunities to obtain scholarships moving forward to the colleges that they went to. So a wonderful opportunity. If you want to know more about how to get involved with that, you can call in while they're here, actually. Call 410-702-5657, and we'll have their information for you shortly. Earlier, I talked about cross-bearing. I talked about your situation and how, or others' situation, if it's not you specifically, other people's situations and how we should look at our condition. Where are we? What will it take for us to move beyond where we are? Now, some of us have achieved much success in our lives, whether it's financially, spiritually, economically. We've done better than we have before. And that's a wonderful thing. If you are comfortable where you are, nobody's judging you. Nobody's faulting you for being where you are. If you continue to move forward, that's a wonderful thing as well. I think it's very important that we help the person to our left and help the person to our right as well. So if you see someone that you can give some knowledge to, if you see someone that you can reach out and support, please do so. Communication is the key to success, and the lack of it is a key to failure in most cases. So I encourage you, I challenge you, call in to the show, be a part of the show in any way that you can, whether it's through donations or text messages or phone calls or actually coming into the studio. We would love to have you. We talked a little bit about legislation. We're going to always talk about legislation. We're going to always talk about how do we make things better for what's going on in our community. Take a look around you. If you have a pothole that's been sitting in the front of your house for months and nobody's come out to fix it, get involved. Get in touch with somebody to fix that pothole in your street. A couple of shows ago, Ophelia Robinson was on talking about the South Austin Community Coalition Council, and Governor Thompson at the time, I believe, and Otto McMath, a community activist. They were among the founders of SAC, as they call it, South Austin Community Coalition Council. They were very instrumental in furthering the policies that were laid in the 50s and in the 60s in Chicago, Illinois. So a little bit of history about Chicago. Chicago was one of the most segregated cities in the Midwest. So when you think of Mississippi, Alabama during that that time, it was a rough time in the South. Well, Chicago was that, but in the North, in the Midwest. In 1966, the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. decided to visit Chicago, move into Chicago, and he moved into Chicago to the west of Halsted, or on the west side of Chicago. Um, there's a place called Market. It was an area called Market Square or Market Park, that area that's not too far off of Cicero. There was a lot of segregation during that time, and a lot of the programs that you see for affordable housing, when we talk about HUD housing today, affordable housing came out of that. Um, when we talk about Operation Breadbasket, which was the precursor to the Rainbow Movement, Operation Push, and things of that nature by Jesse Jackson. There were a lot of programs and policies that were birthed because of the hard work that a lot of people put into. And then you have the South Austin Community Coalition Council, South Austin being the location on the west side, southwest. They furthered the movement. They continue to work hard for policies and procedures so that they can work with the administration in Chicago and work with legislation in Springfield to effect change in a positive way in some of the places in Chicago that were deplorable. You're talking projects that were uninhabitable. If someone went out to inspect these places, they would not be up to code, whether it was where you lived, where you shopped, or when it came to the schools that we were expected to go to. Well, not me, because I was born in the 70s, but prior to me, things got a little bit better, but still a lot of work that had to be done. So a lot of programs were birthed because of SAC. Now, I can remember Otto McMath putting in a lot of work. At the time, everybody would get on a bus, come out to DC, lobby for change. So what the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois was not prepared to do, they took it to Congress in DC to pick up where the state or the city left off. And today is different, but in a positive way. Yes, there's more gang violence going on. There's more shootings that are going on. There's more killing that's going on. But for every situation or issue that you have experienced, there's a solution for it. So I'll give you an example. The fact that we have the social network these days, that means that we can get more involved in what we need to do in a positive light for our communities, whether Chicago or somewhere else, but we're talking about Chicago. And sometimes when it comes to the internet or other forms of social media, going through the internet or outside of it, sometimes things can get diluted a little bit. Sometimes we can be too tech savvy that it's really hard to focus what the cause should be, or it's hard to focus what we should get behind. So because there's so much out there that you can be a participant of, sometimes things get lost in translation, so to speak. So what I would like to do is give you my opinion on how things can move forward. Focus on something specific around you. Just take a look. Take a look to your right, to your left, in front of you, and behind you. Take a look. And once you take a look, get somebody else involved to take a look with you. Get 2 or 3 people involved to be about the same situation, about changing the same situation. After you do that, call 311. Find out who your representatives are. And once you do that, come with a proposal, with an agenda, come with a time frame on when you would like to see change, and start the process of making that change. Now, that's going to require a lot of homework on your part. So once again, I told the story about the lady who went to pick the raccoon up in the middle of the street, and then she kind of changed her mind. You might feel that way when you get started, because it might not be what you expected it to be. But remember the focus at the end. Remember what the outcome is going to be. Do reverse planning. Find out what you want to change and what the benefits of that would be if you do move forward to change it, and then start the process. Start the process from that point. Be at your best when you're your most tired. There's a method to the madness, and you have to work through that to get the process rolling. And if you're not living in Chicago, Illinois, you might be in, I don't know, let's say Woodbridge, Virginia. If you're in Woodbridge, Virginia, and you don't know, find out what's going on. Whether it's you making phone calls for the candidate that you support or the person that you want to see, and I don't know, on the school board, somebody that you want to see involved in some type of way, your local law enforcement, your local firemen, whatever it is, get involved, help make that change. You don't have to be a part of the union. You don't have to be a part of the organization. You don't have to have a certain job that pays you a certain amount of money. You can have no job at all. Like the sister Shay, who came to me asking for money this morning, and she was real with me. All you have to do is present yourself available and be real to go out there and get what it is that you want. Be real about it and go out there and understand and recognize that there's a need. There's a need. There's a need for that pothole to be fixed. There's a need for that sign to be replaced. There's a need for that light to be turned on. There's a need for you to be out there helping the crossing guards, helping our little ones cross the street. There's a need to establish safe zones in certain areas. There's a need to reach out to those who are out there making money on the streets, whether they're slinging or gang banging, they're doing both. There's a need. There's a need to reach out to your local law enforcement. So I challenge you. I encourage you. I ask you to get involved. You're on the Denasha Harrison Show. Be Exposed Radio. We'll be right back right after these words.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hello, world, and welcome back to the show. We're talking about getting involved. We're talking about being a part of something that's bigger than you, but something that's absolutely necessary for you to be a part of and involve others with the process as well. It can be unclear, a lot of us want to get things started, but we just can't figure out how. So once again, look around you, find out what needs to be changed, what can be improved, find out who's accountable for and making these improvements, and get started. Find out who your leaders are. Do a little bit of homework and it'll take you a long way. Once again, do a little bit of homework and it will take you a long way. So I'm looking forward to your phone calls, your testimonies about what you're getting involved in. I'm looking forward to you all sharing information that you may have on something that's going on in your community, whether it's good or bad. Coffee with Cops, Columbia, Maryland. Wonderful program. You get the opportunity to actually sit with those individuals who are serving you and your community. You get to ask questions about what's going on in the community. How's crime going? You know, how's projects going? You know, when is this road going to get fixed? What's going on with certain projects and certain programs, not only in the Columbia area, but the county, which is Howard County, actually. What's going on in that area, things of that nature. So once again, get involved. So we're looking forward to speaking to Miss Kylie and whoever her company is. Once again, she'll be talking about the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy located out of Washington, D.C. And there are also other challenges available for you to recommend to those who would like to consider these organizations or programs as alternatives for young brothers and sisters between the ages of 16 to 18. Once again, I believe that is the age, but I'll go ahead and let Miss Kylie and the recruiter from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy talk a little bit about that. So remember, we have something going on the 17th of September. Be Exposed Open House is going from 12 to 5. That is on a Saturday. And also there's a live broadcast going on for the African American Authors Expo on the 15th of October. And that's located at Morgan State University. Once again, Morgan State University. We have sponsorship opportunities available for you. Once again, I would like to shout out Holy Trinity Gospel Ministries, Ophelia Robinson. She's our sponsor, along with Pastor Kelvin Harrison. So once again, we do appreciate your support. Thank you for all that you have done for the Denasha Harrison Show and what you're continuing to do. So looking forward to more sponsorship opportunities from all of those who would like to support the show. Just give us a call or come on down, send a text. Info us at info@beexposedradio.com, or you can go ahead and call in 410-702-5657. If you have some type of vision that you want to share, bring it to the show, because somebody else might want to help you out with that vision. Somebody else might have the same vision as you. Now, of course, everybody doesn't have the same vision about the same situation, and that's the beautiful thing about it. We don't have to approach something the same way. We can approach it in different ways, in various ways, and that's what makes things so unique on coming to a solution to affect change in a positive way. Be the change that you want to see. Be the change that you want to see. When you start something, finish the process. It might be tough, but that's why you take a look at somebody that's to your left and to your right with the same goals, because when things get tough for you, they can help you out. They can help you keep going. They can help you move forward. And that's what it's all about. That's what community is all about. So I appreciate the Be Exposed radio community for doing what they have done to support this show. And I appreciate you out there supporting the show as well. VSJ is playing the music, is providing the music for us. The music that you're hearing is Magic, and there's a couple of other musics that a couple other more music that you hear as well as Magic. Had a little hiccup there, but Keep On Moving, Magic, a couple other things we will play throughout the radio show. So what you're listening to now is Keep On Moving. Another VSJ production from the mind of Mr. Shepard. Wonderful bass player, piano player, lead guitarist, percussions. I've seen and heard this man do it all, and to actually catch it live is a wonderful experience. So give us a call, 410-702-5657. I think we have our guests here now from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. And what we're going to do is give them an opportunity to come into the studio, settle down a little bit, maybe take a drink of water or something. I know this may not be the easiest place for everyone to get to, but we do exist. 110 East Lexington Avenue, right? Or I'm sorry, 110 East Lexington Street. Okay, right in the heart of downtown Baltimore. We are local here in Baltimore, Maryland, but we're global as well. Africa, thank you for listening. And we're talking about Niamey, Niger, which is Central West Africa. Managua, Nicaragua, thank you for listening as well. To include Atlanta, Chicago, Michigan, Los Angeles, Oxnard, California, Fairfax. You called in last time. Appreciate you. Hope you're listening again. So for everyone else that's listening, call in if you like. Catch the show later if you don't have time to catch the whole show this time around. And what we're going to do is go to a quick break, get ready for our next guest right here on the Danasha Harrison Show.
Free stuff for you just for listening to this station. Yo, we got your attention? Here's how it works. You click on the radio loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for cool stuff in the radio loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple. Free stuff just for doing what you already do. Radio loyalty. Click the banner to join now.
August the 20th. It's now, I have no idea what time it is. 3:01, right here on BigExposedRadio.com. And they asked me to come in and give a little dramatic read from the book.
A traumatic read?
A traumatic read.
It was traumatic.
A traumatic read from the book I Need You Too, one of the authors that was here in prior weeks wrote this book. And it's very traumatic. And I just want you to let the kids know to leave the room now if they don't want to be offended by the word punani, because it's in this book. I'm offended. I'm also offended by your love thing. But you might not be. This might be a book for you and your delicate parts. So let's start. I don't know what chapter this is. I don't think you want to know either. Oh, chapter 3, Le Rendezvous.
Le Rendezvous?
Yeah.
Le Rendezvous.
As I reach in my car.
Come on, you got to get a little sexy with it.
I'm just the beginning. This is the beginning. They're not into it yet.
Oh, all right.
As I reach in my car, I pop the trunk so I can change my CD selection. Since it's evening, I replace my hardcore rap with smooth R&B. The first song I have to hear is Gold Time of the Day by Maze. Have you ever heard it? No, me either. Featuring Frankie Beverly. Due to the setting of the sun and to put me in the mood for tonight's events, I lean against my ride and roll the windows down so the background music can be heard. And I dial the Lovely's phone. Lovely's, as in a name. This book, which she immediately answers.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
So we're gonna get a little bit into the album with Miss Amira and learn the basis of it, the Banji soul of it all. Yes. So let us know, first of all, what is Banji soul?
Banji soul is basically just real. It's real soul. It's real. It's not cut down. It's not watered down. It's, you know, how as hot as it came off of my mind and my heart. That's what it is. And a lot of the times I get a little tangy, bangy, ratchet, whatever, however you like to put it, classify it. But I like to say bangy, because I'm classy.
Banji is a little classier.
It's a little classier. That's got your pinky up. You got your pinky up with that.
Okay, we got to keep the bees, the bougie, the banji.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's created her own lane, Banji Soul. So let us know how that is covered in the album that released on the 9th of this month, right?
Yes. Well, I did it to a number of industry tracks, including like the Beatles Come Together, and I did a Lindsay Lohan joint. You remember the Confessions of a Broken Heart?
Okay.
And a lot of stuff I aimed to like change the theme that was originated, or just to. It was my therapy.
Okay.
It was my therapy.
So that's why this is a mixtape.
Yes.
Okay, because you did a lot of remakes. Okay, I got you. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com. You are listening to Beyond.
Thank you for tuning in to the Denasha Harrison Show on Be Exposed Radio. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the calls. We appreciate the feedback, whether it's via text or Facebook. Thank you for supporting the show, and thank you for listening. Right now, we have Miss Zakia Kiley from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. And earlier, I gave a little bit of information about what the program is all about. Talked to a little bit of it, but I kind of stayed out of some of the weeds with it because I want the experts to talk about what the program is all about. And I know that the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy is coming out of Washington, D.C., I believe, but I also mentioned a little bit about Free State. And for those listeners who are not in the DMV area, the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, maybe you can talk about the challenge in Illinois, North Carolina, things of that nature. So tell me a little bit about the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy.
So CGYCA, as it's called its acronym.
Get closer to the mic.
Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. We're actually a program for 16 to 18-year-old at-risk youth who are disengaged from school. So being they don't currently go to school for various reasons, they come to the academy. They can't have any felonies. Currently, they can't have pending charges, and they have to want to come. It's a voluntary program, so they have to want to come and get their life together. We do 8 core components, so we don't consider ourselves a GED program, but we do school. They go to school to get their GED, and they stay residentially with us for 22 weeks, and then they go back home for 12 months, and there has to be a mentor in place that we work with them and the mentor to follow them for a year after they leave the residential to stay on task.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a wonderful program. I do know a little bit about the program.
Yes, I'm sure you're familiar.
So I actually worked for a time at the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. Wonderful experience. So if someone wants to inquire about it, besides going online or hearing word of mouth, do you all go out in the community? Is there an outreach program? Is there a recruitment type program that you all are doing to actually help people walk through the process?
There is. We have a recruiter, our missions, and we don't call them a recruiter because that's too much like military. And understanding that we are a quasi-military program, and that's what makes us different from every other program, which is something like, but not quite. So we don't expect for youth that leave the challenge to go into the military, but it does have the discipline and the structure that military has. They march and they gain that exposure that the military, how the military benefits a person coming into a structured environment. So our admissions coordinator, which is Mrs. Schwartz, and her assistant, they go out into the community of DC because we, as the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy, we only take District of Columbia youth. There are about 36 National Guard Youth Challenge programs throughout the United States, to include Puerto Rico and Hawaii. And your state may have a challenge program. It's just a matter of you Googling Youth Challenge Academy, and you can find that the majority of the states do have programs near you that you can enter your youth in. And this is a completely free program to the youth and to the parent, with the exception of maybe some incidentals they may need coming in. But it's federally and state funded, and for us, it's federal and district funding. So when you come in, it's free.
Wow. So you talked about 36. So it's 35 more of these type of programs around the United States and in the territory of Puerto Rico. So now I know everything that involves this program is not called Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy, or in the case of Maryland, Free State, right? I believe
Free State Challenge Academy.
But is there a generic term for this type of program? So if I'm in Illinois, it's called something else. If I'm in Maryland,
The Lincoln Challenge Academy. I'm very familiar with all of them. I've met people from all of them, but Youth Challenge Academy, and they all fall under National Guard Youth Challenge programs.
Oh, okay.
So they all fall under the National Guard Bureau. So you can Google Youth Challenge Academy, or you can Google National Guard Youth Challenge Academy or National Guard Youth Challenge Program. And if it's one in your area, you'll see a list of about 36 different programs. Some states have multiple programs, like Louisiana, they actually have 3 different programs because of the need for the youth. And Free State Challenge is Maryland's program. So they do deal with all youth that have a Maryland address. Our program deals with youth that have a district, a DC address.
Okay, so since we have you on the show, if someone's listening and they're in an area that may have the program, is it possible that they can call into the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy and they're saying, well, okay, well, I'm from Texas. Is there someone out here that can help me? Is there any way that you can facilitate making that connection with them? I know you said it's a National Guard ran program, which I think is very important for people to know about. But for someone who might have missed that part of the show, maybe later on, is there any way that they can call into, say, the challenge out of DC and get their information that they need for their area?
Yes, definitely. We have people call all the time. We also have people call with their 8-year-old who says, you know, I need to come to the challenge because I need some help. And I mean, that's the reality of the world we live in today. And we're having difficulty with our youth. You know, they're displaced, or, you know, they're not engaged the way they used to be when we were younger. And, you know, I don't want to tell my age, but, you know, when we were younger. But when they call us, we will point you in the right direction. And yes, there is a Texas program, the Texas Challenge Academy. So.
What are the ages? I know you said like the 8-year-old, you know, but is there a program for 8-year-olds through the academy, or are there specific age limits?
It's 16 to 18-year-old.
Okay, so I had that right.
Yes. Okay. So when you come in the program, you can do all of your paperwork. You can apply to challenge program, but on the first day you come, you have to be 16 years old. And then for the 18-year-olds, when you come to the challenge, you can turn 19 in the program, but you have to be 18 on your first day. We do 2 programs a year. So we do January to June, and then we do July to December. And that's the 22-week residential phase. And then, like I said, the post-residential phase is for a year. And you're required to have a mentor. And we work with the mentor to keep you on task through your post-residential actionary plan, which is what we call it. So it's a plan that they formulate. They formulate it while they're here. We kind of push them through their goal setting, really get them in a mind to know what they want to do. Because the purpose of the program is to make productive citizens, put them back out into the community as productive citizens who can get a job and pay taxes and put back into the economy.
Okay. Talk a little bit about the key components. I know you mentioned key components. What exactly does that mean when you talk about the key components of the program?
So we have 8 core components. Everybody kind of hones in on the educational piece, the GED, which is why a lot of cadets do come to us, because they do need that GED. It wasn't working for them in high school, or there are other reasons why they may have left home. And I want everybody to understand that the program is not for bad kids. You know, that's what everybody tends to say. It's for bad kids, you know, send your bad child there. It's not. We have, extreme ends of the spectrum. We have some kids who are upper class. They have been taken care of. But there may have been no accountability. And so they feel like, I'll stop going to school.
Mhm.
And so they need to come to challenge to kind of right the ship. And to the opposite end of the spectrum where we have homeless kids who come
Wow.
to us. Well, before they come, I mean, they are legitimately homeless, living on the street. And so they come because they know they need that GED to really move forward and take care of themselves. So I don't consider any of them bad kids. They're all young people or youth who have a learned behavior that needs to be altered. And staying in an environment for 5.5 months gives you a level of consistency, the ability to be consistent enough to kind of alter that behavior or to influence them to alter that behavior, because we know you can't force anybody to do anything.
Mhm.
And that's the same thing. We think because they're young people, we can force their hand, but the reality is you can't. You can dig deep and find out what some of the issues are. Keeping in mind we're non-therapeutic, but you can have conversations with them and you can provide them, with the information, and they're going to take it or they not. And we don't force people to stay. It's voluntary.
And when you say non-therapeutic, you're referring to?
Psychological. So we don't have a therapist on
Okay.
site. We do not deal in the therapeutic aspect, although you can have behavioral modification without the therapeutic side. So we do life coping skills, like you were saying, the ACORE components. We have job skills, we have life coping skills, responsible citizenship. We
Mhm.
do PT or exercise every day. So physical fitness we deal with. They have to take a physical fitness test.
Mhm.
We get into leadership followership. In essence, they're coming here to learn skills that we don't expect them to come here and be a different person in 22 weeks. That's not realistic.
Mhm.
But the changes they make in 22 weeks let you know that they really want to do something different with their life. And so we're giving them the foundation. We're redefining some things for them, showing them that they can be successful.
So you did mention that we can't force the hands of children.
Yes.
Some people feel like that's a way to do it. So if someone in the program decides, hey, this isn't for me, or I'm having a really difficult time and I can't cope, do they have to stay, or are they allowed to leave? Or is this like, it's not a military, it's not a military program. Is
Well,
it?
it is a quasi
It's a
military
quasi-military program.
Not the military.
It's not the military,
Yes.
and it's not incarceration, correct?
Yes.
So
It's not a jail.
if they choose to leave, can they actually stop the program at any time and decide to do something different?
They can, but let's keep in mind that you're 16, 17, you're a
Mhm.
minor.
Mm-hmm.
So, why you do have some of the young people who are voluntold, and I'm sure we all know how that goes. You do things out of respect for the household, your parents,
Mhm.
and your situation that you're in. But if the parent agrees for this young person to not be there, we cannot force your hand.
Mm-hmm.
At every level, we're going to try to influence you to stay. So we're going to have conversations with you. We're going to dig into why you came in the first place. We're going to say, hey, let's go through this process. Let's talk, because you came for a reason. If you got in the car and you came to, and I know you've heard me say this before, if you got in the car and you came to challenge, then that means you needed it for some reason, one reason or another, because you could have said, I'm not getting in the car.
Uh-huh.
So it takes a lot of courage. I mean, I want people to understand that at 16 to 18-year-old, how many people are leaving home for 22 weeks to go be with strangers
Right.
that are going to dictate their every move, that are going to say, hey,
Every move.
yes, every move. You're going to very structured environment, but
Mhm.
a consistent one. And a consistent structured environment breeds safety and security. It makes you
Wow.
feel at home. You don't have that. And I'm from Baltimore, so you don't have to worry about that. When am I going to eat? How
Mhm.
am I going to sleep? How am I going to get what I need? You can feel relaxed in knowing I am in an environment where people are watching over me to be safe, and they have my best interest at heart.
Okay.
So it's all about what you want to do. And I'll be honest, some of the kids, 22 weeks, they're
Mhm.
on the 22nd week, the 7th day,
Uh-huh.
and it may not click.
Mhm.
But when they're walking across the stage, receiving their certificate saying, I completed this, they start to believe. They start to say, well, I've never completed anything in my life. So now
Right.
I believe that I can do it. And the hardest thing is them going back home and maintaining that. And that's why those 8 core components are so important, because I can teach you anything. I can put you in school, but that doesn't mean I'm going to apply it. And it doesn't mean I have built up that ability to persevere. And that's what the challenge gives you that a lot of programs don't. We teach perseverance, that true grit, that ability to go out and keep pushing and pushing until you gain it, because there is no guarantee you're going to pass your GED when you're in a challenge. You know, you may come in at a 4th grade level and you might leave at a 6th grade level, but because you've learned to persevere and you've been giving those tools, you're going to go and you're going to continue to push forward once you leave challenge.
I like that. I know my experience with challenge, the ones that talked about it the most, about not wanting to be there and not wanting to be a part of it, and how they were tired of this and tired of that. It seems like they were always the ones that did not want to leave. They seem to always have found their way back to be involved in challenge in some type of way. Can we briefly talk a little bit about the examples of those who find their way back to challenge? What does the program offer that they get involved into after graduation?
So we have a peer mentor program that's first and foremost. So when you graduate challenge, prior to you graduating the residential phase, because technically you're not graduating challenge after the 22 weeks, because you still have a year of post-residential.
Okay.
Where we're going to keep up with you and we're going to talk to you multiple times a month. Our case managers do a great job at staying in contact and keeping you on track through your mentor that has been put in place. But prior to you departing, we have a program called the Peer Mentor Program, that we have cadets who want to come back and they've reached a level of maturity to where they can influence their peers and they can tell someone, hey, I just went through this. I mean, I just graduated 4 weeks ago and it's not as hard as it looks, or, you know, stay the course, or, you know, keep pushing through. Now, those peer mentors, they come back to us and they stay with us for the 5.5 months of the class after, and they can be a great influence on those cadets who just can't, they don't believe that they can make it through.
Right.
But to see somebody in the uniform that says, hey, it was rough.
Right.
You know, somebody's going to be honest, and that's their peer that can say, they can see as an example every day that they know they can make it through.
Okay.
So the peer mentor program is one, but then our case managers, and I can only speak on the District of Columbia. Through the District of Columbia, we have a re-engagement center in DC. We like to see our cadets go to college. It's their choice. We do help with placement. So we would like, before they leave, and really they're supposed to, before they leave, be placed. And we would like them to have a job, be volunteering. They can go back to high school, they can go to college, you know, or they can come back to us as a peer mentor.
Okay. Great information. We're talking to Ms. Colley from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. We have a little bit more time. What I'm going to do is go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how you became involved with the challenge program, your experience with it, and probably a little bit about your service in the military. So we'll be right back right after these words.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles, the gentleman.
BeExposedRadio.com.
Mr. Miles, the gentleman.
It is what it is. Radio airs Friday.
However you want to flip it. And this is Weird Radio. Today, I am joined by
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement. Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know you're probably just a little bit nervous.
You can find it in yourself to take that first step. You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for joining us and welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here at Be Exposed Radio. Before we get back into talking about the Academy, I'd like to remind everyone that's out there listening or viewing that on the 17th of September, there is an open house between 12 and 5, which is Saturday here at Be Exposed. So come out and support your local/global radio station. Also, we have the African American Authors Expo on the 15th of October at Morgan State University. There will be a live broadcast happening on that day at that time. So please come out and support. Holy Trinity Gospel Ministries, Calvin Harrison, Ophelia Robinson, thank you for sponsoring the show. Once again, I really do appreciate it. Give us a call, 410-702-5657 for our next broadcast, which will be on Tuesday from 10 to 12 on Be Exposed Radio. And also, I like to talk about Cheryl Ann. Appreciate it. So it says, great show. Thanks for telling me about the show. What I like to do is read our comments. So if you're calling, don't get a chance to get on the phone with us. If you're texting, then this is what we do. We let everybody know that you're a part of the show. We want you to feel like you're a part of the show and actually be a part of the show. This program/school, the Capital Garden Youth Challenge Academy, sounds great. Sounds like a great program. As someone who works with Job Corps, so somebody called in that works with Job Corps, and that's another show because we could talk about how the Academy works with the Job Corps when it comes to placements and things like that. It sounds like a great and better alternative to Job Corps for teens. And what I'll let Miss Colley talk about on the next show, because she's going to join us possibly on Thursday, but we'll work that out after we are off air. The Job Corps and the Capital Garden Youth Challenge Academy is a wonderful partnership. I've seen a lot of our cadets benefit from rolling out of the academy, going over into Job Corps and continuing their education, continuing their skills. And it's a wonderful partnership, wonderful program. So briefly, if you can tell us, how did you get involved? And listeners, thank you very much. Keep them coming. Keep the comments coming. Keep the phone calls coming. Keep the texts coming. How did you get involved with the Capital Garden Youth Challenge Academy?
Well, I was getting out of the military. I spent a little short of 10 years in the Navy. I really wanted to
Thank you for your service, by the way.
I really wanted to impact youth. I knew I was called to do it. I knew I had to call to counsel. I always had a listening ear for the young people. And I came up rough in Baltimore. And when I say rough, I don't mean I had hard times all the time, but enough for it to change who I was, my personality, and make me feel like I couldn't be something greater. So the military kind of saved me. I had a good head on my shoulders back then. But when I got out, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, which is the case for most military people. You don't know what direction to go. And I moved from Norfolk. I was living in Norfolk. I moved back to Baltimore.
Where's Norfolk for the people that
Virginia.
don't know? Okay.
Right. So I moved back to Baltimore, and I was here only for 3 months. And I went back to Virginia. I just knew there was a reason for me to go back. And I met someone at a gym, which I love sports. And she said, you know, you would really fit this program that my husband works at. And she told me about the program, and it was the perfect balance of my military me, which it's funny how my personality fit the military instead of the military fitting me.
I like that.
I went in because it was something that aligned with who I already was, determined. And so she told me about the program. I applied, and I started working at the Commonwealth Challenge Academy, which is in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for Virginia youth. And then I got an opportunity for DC open up a program in 2007, but it was short lived. So I moved from Virginia back to Maryland. I worked with DC, and they actually closed down with them after the first class in a matter of 6 or 7 months. They closed down because the site we was at wasn't conducive. So I went to work at Free State Challenge Academy. I wasn't going to give up on these youth. I just wanted to stay at Challenge. It was just a great fit. And so I left Free State Challenge Academy. I kind of pursued a different avenue, but I was just waiting for DC to open back again. And it did in 2013. And I've been there since and kind of moved up the chain rather rapidly, and am now the program coordinator there.
Okay, so you're currently the program coordinator. Before that, what was your role at the academy?
I was the commandant. So when I came in, I was a senior team leader, and we have what we call cadre, which are, for lack of a better term, which I don't like to use, but drill sergeants. Keep in mind, we are not drill sergeants because we are not the military. You know, we're a quasi-military program, something like, but not quite. So we maintain a discipline and structure.
Something like, but not quite.
Yes. So quasi-military is where the underpinning of discipline and structure is the underpinning of the program. So I moved up the chain, shift supervisor. Within about 6 months, I was the interim commandant. Asked my mentor to come, who is now our deputy director, Mr. Brown. Our director, Mr. Reynald Blackwell, saw something in me where he asked me to take that position. I got my mentor to come. I went from assistant commandant to commandant, and now to program coordinator within 3 years.
Okay, well, thank you for your service. This is getting good, and unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap it up pretty soon. But before we do, can we get your commitment to come back and continue the conversation about the Challenge Academy?
Yes.
Okay, so you heard it on the air. She's coming back. And before we wrap, quickly tell us the information that we need to know about getting in touch with the Academy.
Yes, for DC's program, you can go to cgyca.org. That's cgyca.org. If you're interested, you can fill out a pre-application there. If you're interested in mentor, you can do the same. You don't have to have a cadet in a program to become a mentor. We're constantly needing positive mentors, and the requirement for mentor, you just can't have a felony, and you have to be, I believe, 21, which I'll double check. But we really need great mentors. You can also call 202-730-1527, and you can reach our missions coordinator directly.
Okay, that's great information. Y'all heard it here on the Denasha Harrison Show. She's coming back. She's going to talk a little bit more about the program, because this is definitely a need for our communities all throughout the United States, to include the territory in Puerto Rico. So we're looking forward to more information from the Capital Guardian Youth Challenge Academy. On our next show, we're going to have Dr. Dabney. She's going to talk about her book, and she's going to talk about her experiences, and it's all connected. And I love it. I love how when it comes to community, when it comes to moving things forward and bettering our communities and bettering ourselves, there's a solution. There's not always a problem or an issue without a solution. And we need to spend more time getting to the root of the issues overcoming our issues, moving forward to affect change in a positive way. We need to be the change that we want to see, right? So we have to move forward. With every issue, there's always a solution. So stay in tune with what's going on in your communities. Stay in tune with the Denasha Harrison Show here on Be Exposed Radio. We're looking forward to speaking with you again, sharing with you again, talking with you again about what's going on in our communities. Thank you for your support. We will see you on Tuesday here on the Denasha Harrison Show on Be Exposed Radio. Ms. Colley, thank you very much for coming in, and we'll see you next week as well. Take care, be safe, and take care of each other, people. Until next time.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Welcome back to Be Exposed Radio's open house on August the 20th. It's now, I have no idea what time it is. 3:01, right here on BeExposedRadio.com. And they asked me to come in and give a little dramatic read from the book.
A traumatic read?
A traumatic read.
It was traumatic?
A traumatic read from the book I Need You Too, one of the authors that was here.
Join the club that gives you stuff. Hey, thanks! Radio Loyalty. Here's how it works. Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys,